Here we are.
Yeah, I think it's the connection today.
Slight delay.
Welcome to I'm your host, Gerald, aka the Crypto Oracle. Today's episode is called Lots o' Bots and Leverage. But let's thank our sponsors. This is my co-host Nick hanging out today again. Let's thank our sponsors at Quantum Expeditions. If you guys aren't aware, they started Bitcoin mining and using a methane flare gas, which is now becoming an industry standard. And obviously any wasted energy out there is a way to mine Bitcoin. And that's what is going to make Bitcoin the most valuable asset ever in the history of the world and become a quadrillion dollar asset at some point in the near future. But yeah, check out Quantum Expeditions. Also our other sponsor, Shieldfolio. Basically, if you don't know what Shieldfolio does, they're a little book to protect your seed phrase. You write it in a special ink, and the only way to read it is you have to have a special light. They're waterproof. They're working on a fireproof, waterproof one that should be coming out soon. There's the QR code. You get a little discount, 20% off your next Shieldfolio. And also want to thank the organized media and all the team at Bitcoin Live and all the people that have the show. Thank you so much. And let's get into it. Literally, I don't think I have my bookmarks pulled up, but I think I do have one over here. Let's see. Oh yeah, my share button. That's where I messed up.
Leverage and bots.
Come on, there we go. Oh. Let's see. Not the Bitcoin balance exchanges. Liquidations. There we go.
You just came out of a QE space?
Oh, you were breaking up now, dude.
I am? Oh, okay.
Yeah, your mic was. What was that again? Can you say that again?
Oh, that you just came out of a QE space, right? Quantum economic space.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That, and again, and good segue into this. And the person was like, "Yeah, when I trade perpetuals, I know I'm not trading against the little guy. I'm trading against like these massive amounts of these market makers." And like that's what this whole show is about. Like, why are you doing that then? You're just making that exchange more money, right? That's all you're doing is you're making CZ and team more money. And that's who most of the money goes to. Let's be very clear. When I say that, it's not an exaggeration. The next exchanges behind them, they do a lot of money. But Binance is doing like $250 million daily in volume. I mean, $250 billion. It's like $200 billion in volume daily, right? And somebody was like, "Uh-oh, get your money off Binance." Somebody they took away $20. I was like, they do like $200 billion. I said 100 billion just to be safe was my tweet. And then when I posted it, it was like, "Oh yeah, it could be 120 to 225 billion dollars on any given day during these high volume days." So yeah, like this is where all the money is coming to, and you're just CZ another billion in his wallet. He was added to the Forbes list. He's like, "I'm not that rich." I'm like, "Bro, you're that rich, bro. You're that rich." Because these dumb MFers are going to keep gambling. And Bitcoin doesn't care, right? I've said this many times on the show before this episode, right? Before we even discuss this topic, me, Nick, and MattySats have talked about Bitcoin will whack the longs and then come back down, right? Or I'm sorry, whack the shorts when it pumps, and then it'll come back down and whack the longs. And it just, all those exchanges just up and it's gone and it's gone and it's gone. And I know for some people, it's only a couple $100 worth of Bitcoin, but that couple $100 of Bitcoin now, when Bitcoin's a million or 100 million or $1 billion, because I was the first person to say that that's possible, right? You're going to be really upset because that couple $100 worth of Bitcoin could be several $100,000 or even millions of dollars in capital when we're talking about the US dollar. And let's be very clear, the dollar will go away. Yes, money might disappear. But I said this even before, we have a bazillion and one stable coins now, that even when stable coins go bye-bye, the unit of the dollar will still exist for some time because it's just a measuring stick. And it's been this measuring stick for over 100 years now. And just like I said the other day, why this whole economy is going to be floated. And again, I've extended this theory out. The crypto AI / supercomputing bubble is because they're printing stable coins ad infinitum, right? There's that story. You know what? I'm going to go from the CoinGlass right into this story because I have it pulled up over
USD,
here.
Right?
Yeah, the PYUSD. It's like, are you kidding me? It's like, oh my gosh.
$300 trillion.
Yeah, 300 trillion, which proves my point. Of course, I go to my bookmarks, and where are my bookmarks? They're not there anymore. Thank you, X. Thank you. I love when that happens.
I think I got it somewhere. Give me a second.
Yeah, if you have it pulled up, cool. I have it. Pretty sure I have it bookmarked, but now I just have to again. They refresh the page. Thanks.
You have the article. I have.
Of course, I can't find it. Oh yeah, just pull it up if you got it. But yeah, so $300 trillion of PYUSD was accidentally minted, right? Let's be very clear. This tells us two things. This is why Ethereum is like fiat and why the governments like it, right? And this is prior to all this. Our BTC president, right? They were all loving on Ethereum before we got a pro Bitcoin president. One, it's bad because, like, hello, you can print into ad infinitum. And two, it just shows you this is a foreshadowing, right? They are going to increase the money supply. Like I said, this is why Bitcoin's going to $1 billion in like 20 years. I think
the test run.
Yeah, I know that Fidelity said like by 2030 that's possible. I've recalculated the numbers. I do not think it's possible by 2030. Where that's like 5 years away, right? Or was it 2038? I think it's closer to like 2050. That we get to $1 billion, because the money supply has to do like 100x from where it is now, and I think that's going to take about 20 to 30 years. But I think it will happen because every country's going to have a tokenized. Well, at first it's going to be all these USDT stable coins, and that's going to dominate and protect the U.S. economy. But then a lot of these people are going to realize it's like you saw the lines today for gold, right? There's going to be these lines for Bitcoin. It's coming. It's just a matter of time before people who have a phone realize this is why Bitcoin is superior. Take that gold bar and throw it at your phone. Take $100 note, whether it's a euro or it's $100 bill, and throw it at your phone. It doesn't work. It's not compatible with the digital realm. Bitcoin is far superior in this aspect, and I'm trying to convince this older work because I don't want her to be totally broke when she's in her like late 80s. She's getting close to 80 now. I think she's 70 something. And she's like, but I can't touch it. And I was like, that's one of its best features.
Yeah,
you can't touch it. So what's that mean? It means it's fireproof, right? It means it's proof to rats, rat proof and rot proof.
Durable.
And again, it
Durable,
makes it
predictable.
the hardest money ever because it is in.
Yes. Yeah, and I'm almost finished with the book When Money Dies, which was about Weimar Germany. It's written in 1975, and people in stock markets will do well, and people holding gold or foreign currencies, of course. But in our case, also Bitcoin. But one of the things that I was sort of wondering about with American stablecoins is, didn't Trump also give every American who is now born a portfolio, a stock market portfolio, an American that they have like a part in the American stock market?
Question one more time, because I lost.
Yeah, I think Trump also gave every American. There's this bill that went to Congress or Senate. I'm not sure if it went through, but that every American will get like a portion or a segment of the American stock market, that they are sort of invested in it from. Yeah, I think
I'm not familiar with that. I would like to be in on that one.
Yeah,
but this is also, what? Good.
And on top of that, of course, the pension funds and American companies are invested in Bitcoin and crypto, right? So if Americans are invested in American companies and the American companies are invested in Bitcoin and crypto, and then they blow up Bitcoin and crypto through stablecoins, then it kind of means that every American is going up, but the rest of the world isn't.
Yeah, unless you're getting into Bitcoin. And yeah, and that's what we're seeing globally. Today, the big news was Singapore. Either Singapore or Thailand. I think it was Thailand. Maybe it was Thailand. And I think I might have that. You know what? Let me pull up my bookmark tab, because that's like mainly what I was going to do today. Because like it was mostly, mostly stuff on there. So here we go. Share this tab. So here's the people lining up for gold. Like this is like your dude. Like there's your exit liquidity. And I literally out. Oh, it is Thailand. Thailand just approved zero capital gains tax for Bitcoin and crypto trades. Again, this is huge. Thailand is a big country, y'all. Oh, and here's the video I wanted to show that. And when I said gold top was okay, hello, are you paying attention? These people don't realize that in 10 years, gold against Bitcoin is going to be like zero, but it's going to be like holding an S coin. I'm just saying, because they keep finding more and more and more gold. And when they finally start mining asteroids, that's when the price of gold just goes off a cliff, right? It goes pew, because there's so much of it. When it becomes an S, right? This is basic econ 101. Let's be very clear here. This is for the people that don't get it. Oh, dang nabbit, I clicked the wrong button. This is basic econ 101, right? As soon as one of these asteroids positive gold, or they find another massive vein in this South America or South Africa or Australia, that's the supply that you said was there grows, right? And if it grows by X amount, then the value can go down in a magnitude of X amount, and very fast. And again, as we pulled up charts from a few shows ago, you could see all these assets against Bitcoin, with the exception of gold, going up so much in the last couple of months. All of them against Bitcoin, properties, right? Other paper money, like just pick any paper money in the world. It's getting decimated against Bitcoin with the exception of the dollar, right? What other assets? Oh yeah, we used the diamond ring, right? That diamond ring was a whole Bitcoin. Now that diamond ring is like 0.018 Bitcoin or something like that. It's like ridiculous. So even other hard assets against Bitcoin, which against dollars are faring well, they're not doing so hot against Bitcoin, and this is why you need to have Satoshi, get Cash App, get Kraken, figure it out, right? Whatever exchange, even if it's Coinbase. I always tell people, you get a couple $100 on there, whatever money you see a number, if you start to break a sweat, yeah, then it's time to get a cold storage wallet, and then you take those Satoshis and move them into your cold storage wallet. Let's get back to my X account. I accidentally clicked stop sharing, and I wanted to be still sharing.
Yeah, maybe it was the 401k.
Yeah, it's this one. Share this tab. And then there was this video, Joe Burnett, explaining like why it's. Here you go.
The banking system, and the central banking system. Over the past decade, I have studied how money actually works in detail, and I have realized that it is far simpler and far more corrupt than most people imagine. How can I explain what I've learned in the clearest terms? Let me explain the scam of the modern financial system. The top 1% borrow money created out of thin air by commercial banks at interest to buy more stocks and real estate. Those businesses employ the bottom 99%. The top 1% only win when their returns exceed their cost of capital. When returns fall below that cost, losing money and begin laying off the bottom 99%. Now enter the Federal Reserve. With its employment mandate, it floods markets with liquidity by cutting interest rates or using quantitative easing. This allows the top 1% to borrow new money cheaply, buy more assets, and re-employ the bottom 99%. This cycle repeats. The top 1% perpetually win, the bottom 99% are at their mercy. This system has persisted for decades and will continue until the world adopts Bitcoin. Sound money fixes the broken game and levels the economic playing field worldwide. Why? Because there's no central bank of Bitcoin. There's no lender of last resort. This means that socialism for the rich can no longer be disguised as an employment mandate for the bottom 99%. Bitcoin is economic hope. Thanks for watching, everyone, and see you next time.
And this is why it's so important that you are starting to stack, right? Even if it's today that you're starting to stack, because like I said, the way you fight the 1%ers who've abused this system for so many years is you don't give them your Satoshis, right? Don't sell Larry Fink your like the most valuable asset ever created in the history of the world, right? Because every energy company is going to figure this out, and they started to, right? We talked about this in the last episode where Paraguay has tons of excess hydroelectric power, and now they're 4% of the hash rate. That is massive, and that's going to grow over the next couple of years. They're going to become like 10 to 15% hash rate of the global hash rate, and that's huge, right? That's tons of opportunities that are going to come to Paraguay, just like El Salvador. Now Paraguay is going to have all this capital flying to it, because their energy companies now producing more money because that energy isn't wasted, right?
Yeah.
They are now, what are they doing on time? They're like, oh yeah, keep the turbines going. We're in the kern, right? Like,
And I think
time to
also sort of
mine.
this also sort of ties into Bitcoin's value proposition, right? Because the more these energy companies and countries wake up,
You just stopped again. What's going on?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Dag nabbit. It's like every time you want to say something, like you get like it's either my connection, your connection, but
I suspect it's your connection, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
yeah.
If somebody's listening, let us know. But I was saying like it's also am I but okay, maybe you should reconnect otherwise. Maybe we can try that. Just jump in and out.
I'll be right back.
Okay, cool. Okay. Well, while Gerald is checking out what's going on, I think I want to make a point, and then I'll maybe repeat it later. But it actually ties into Bitcoin's value proposition. It's my opinion, right? Because the more countries and the more companies, and especially energy companies, figure out how valuable Bitcoin mining is, and the more they do it, they actually make Bitcoin more valuable because they are actually decentralizing it, right? Because once Paraguay, Bhutan, El Salvador, and all these other countries start mining Bitcoin because they want to improve their energy network, reduce electricity costs, and boost their economies. And let's see. What they're also doing is improving the decentralized nature of the network by doing that.
Okay, you're like way better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely my router. My roommate always pushes the router
Yeah, well,
back under like.
I suspected something because last time you were like crystal sharp, like your image was crystal sharp, and this time you were like sort of grainy, and I was like, okay, I think it's your connection, but yeah, you look much better. You sound much better too.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. It's like every time you talked, it like my mic cuts off, and it was trying to like get into your mic, and then that upload, it was like, and I was like,
delay. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's really
and it was
annoying.
just getting annoying. So I was like, you know what? I knew I should have did it this morning, but I thought it was further to the left, and it wasn't. It was like way back. And I was like, she doesn't understand technology that like my room at the front of the house, her room's right above the router. So it can be back. She's got a strong signal.
We need a mesh net.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I don't know if you saw the article that I shared from just the other, I think it was like a few days ago, China, and this is straight off of 60 Minutes, right? A former for the NSA was like, yeah, China's been hacking our infrastructure. Hello. Are we paying attention? I know we're off on a tangent here, but this is very important for national security, right? We have to unlock these mesh nets, especially in North America, in the West. These need to be unlocked immediately because we have, right, the Taliban shutting down the internet in Afghanistan. We have internet issues across America, like I've been warning about, because bandwidth is in demand, right? There are so many IoT devices in America that the bandwidth on any given evening is just sapped. And you're like, why is it buffering? Why am I buffering? I've got 30 megabits down. I got a gigabyte down. Why am I buffering? Because everyone has 5 devices connected in America, right? And the mobile net and in some places in the country, the mobile net and your terrestrial net can only do so much bandwidth. But back to the point, these mesh nets need to be unlocked. How many examples do I need to point out? The FBI shuts down this phantom tele network that was set up with 300,000 SIM cards, right? Like, thank you, Lord, that was stopped. That was the next, like, 9/11 right there. Let's be clear. If that worked, what are they going to do? They're going to do a DDoS attack on the SMS network, right? It could send 30 million texts a minute. So all of a sudden, the whole mobile network is shut down in New York. What do you think would happen?
Yeah.
Pandemonium, probably, in about pure pandemonium. So we averted that.
Yeah.
We averted like minutes and days, right? So if we don't unlock these mesh nets, we're flirting with disaster. And I know that Apple and Google are going to lose a lot of money because of this at some point, but this is it profits. I'm sorry, it trumps your profits because the national security threat, if these towers go down, it's over. We can't communicate. It's over. These mesh nets are open. We can still text. We can still call each other because if it's an iPhone, it's connected, right? Bluetooth. You turn on your Bluetooth, everyone's connected. If you're an Android, the same thing. You could still do business. We could still conduct business. We could still, again, be social like we are, like all the time. And again, I hate to be repetitive like a broken record, but now we have a former general for one of the highest security agencies saying what I've also been saying. We're at war with China. Let's be very clear. This is not me being hyperbolic or exaggerating, right? I did a whole show because my friend died because of fentanyl, and I'm like trying to connect all the dots for everyone. We're at war with China. They hate our guts. They do. They literally do.
They fight asymmetric warfare, right? I mean, they're doing like a reverse opium
war. We've been talking about that, right? Where they buy up property, right? They're buying up the gold. They're doing this to devalue gold, right? They hold a big supply. And I said, at some point, what do you think they're going to do? Just see $4,500 an ounce gold and not sell? They're going to dump.
Yeah.
And they're dumping our bonds, right? So the Russians, they've been dumping our securities for years, right? The number, like, 2 or 3rd holders, the Canary Islands, right? Like, let's be clear, it's a much bigger Ponzi than Mr. Burnett was polite to point out, right? And I'm not like a super genius with this out. There's tons of economists and really smart people, from Max Kaiser to Jonathan Perkins, pointing out all of these shady practices and games that corporate America has been employing for years. And Bitcoin does fix this, right? This is why for years they hated on it is because they knew, right? And this is why when people say, oh, we're just going to put Bitcoin, we're going to put gold on the blockchain. I was like, yeah, they've tried it multiple times. It doesn't work because people don't want to know how much gold there is, right? Yep. Because that gives it more value. If we know how much gold there is, that brings down the value. Bitcoin's the exact opposite. We know how much exact effing Bitcoin there is to the dang decimal point. And that's why they hated it. You can't cook the books, right? Bitcoin makes everything be like in the light accounting, right? You have to be above board accounting. There is no shady accounting with Bitcoin. And that's why
ties into what we started with the leverage and the casino exchanges, right? Because they
yeah,
are
and let's get back to that, because like we want to
Binance
look
and
at.
CC
I
in
had that
China.
liquidation page pulled up. Let me pull that back up, and I'll let you finish. Share this tab, and I think that's it.
There we go.
Go ahead, you can speak, man. I just wanted to make sure I had this pulled up.
Yeah, no problem. No, I mean, it sort of ties to the casino exchanges and, people losing money there because they're playing against the house. And, there are a lot of connections between Binance and the Chinese government and these exchanges, right? Also with FTX and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I saw a recent episode of Digital Gold Talk, and they pulled off some really interesting statistics. And I think Johnny Law on Sunday is gonna talk a little bit more about that. But I think China is also waging war in crypto land, right? By making people sell their crypto at a loss, or for worthless tokens.
Well, yeah, when it comes to, I think, the property markets and the gold markets, that's mainly China. When it comes to crypto, it's mainly North Korea. And I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised, but this is huge, just me, huge speculating that the team, that special NK whatever team that works for the Koreans, I wouldn't be surprised if they had a Chinese attaché that works in conjunction with them to hack wallets and hack exchanges. It wouldn't surprise me one iota.
And didn't you have that Chinese bank that's now openly backing Binance?
Hey, again, they're not stupid, right? If they see that $1 trillion is going into these markets, they can't ignore it anymore, right? But let's get back to what you were saying, which is, let's look at this page, right? It says it was the tariff news, but it was the #1 day for liquidations. It was about almost $20 billion of liquidations. But to me, that's not as accurate, because if we pull up this chart right here, you can see we were at, like, what's the peak here on October 6th, 4.3, and we're now down to almost 3.65. So that was like, what, $700-800 billion. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot more than $20 billion, right? And obviously it took several days to occur. But this is what's going on. There's too many people gambling in the markets, right? There's too many people 100x leverage, too many people using these bots that the market makers aren't going to come in and slaughter the pigs. And that's what just happened here. And now we're about to see it in the gold market, right? That's next, right? Let's be very clear. You're seeing lines of 300 people in New York waiting to buy what? You're going to buy a 1 ounce of gold? What are you going to buy? A gram? Whoop-de-doo! Yeah, it's not going to do shit for you, because what's going to happen is you're going to buy that gram, or let's say you buy an ounce. Let's say you literally have $4,200, and they're nice enough to not be like, oh, it's $4,215, right? Because if they're tight ass bullion place, they might. But let's say they sell to you for 42 even. You got 4,200 cash. You know what's going to happen? It's going to go to 45, maybe 5. And then it's going to come right back down to 42. And then it's going to go back down to about 38. And then it's going to go down to 33. And then you're like, oh, gold sucks. Yeah, oops, you messed up. Because all the 1%ers, they're selling right now. They're offloading their gold because they've been hoarding it for 30 years, right?
Yeah.
They're literally, they've been hoarding it for 30 plus years at 4,200. They're not buying more. Ones aren't. The dumb ones are.
Yeah.
And the same thing's happening with properties, right? You see all these new wealthy people buying up properties, all these nice places around the world. But again, properties are a shit coin. I don't know how many times I have to say this. They have liabilities, you have overhead, they can make as many as they want. They keep doing this ad infinitum. All these banks keep buying these properties. And that's an idea for one of my new companies. I sent my sister the business plan. And if she likes it, you're going to see one of the biggest companies form very quickly. And I'm not going to divulge too much because I don't like doing that anymore. But the business plan is sound, and it will be such an easy startup process. It's just all of the pain in the ass is paperwork. It's all paperwork. And if my sister says she can handle all that paperwork, which I'm pretty sure she can, yeah, it's going to be dope. But anyway, like I said, we'll talk about that some other time because she has said she hasn't read it, but she says she's going to read it. And I haven't jumped on her about it because I don't want to be too pushy. I want the business plan to speak for itself, but it's going to be cool. I'll talk to you about it afterwards. But anyway, why is this important? Why is Bitcoin so important? Because these 1%ers are going to get wrecked. It's happening right now as we speak, right? Ransomware is a real thing, right? And it actually is a hint to what I'm building. But here, Google this for me and pull it up. Land Rover and who's the other partner? Jaguar Land Rover shut down from ransomware attack. They were shut down for a whole month. I think they might even still be shut down in the United Kingdom. Let me repeat that. A whole manufacturing facility was shut down for over a month because of a ransomware attack. Are you reading it?
I got it here. Right.
Did you find it?
Putting it up now.
Crazy, huh?
Why?
So, exactly. This is what I'm talking about, right? Like nobody is really paying attention except for like a handful that really understand what I've been warning about. And this is just another layer of this. The hackers have understood Bitcoin is far more superior, right? And AI, that's the other layer I keep forgetting to add into the mix. But look, a massive automotive company is shut down because it can't order parts because of a cyber attack, right?
Because I think there are like, you mentioned there's like three components to sort of the rise in cyber attacks, right? First of all, cyber attackers are becoming more sophisticated because they have to work harder because of Web3 security. So they have to become smarter and better at what they're doing. Secondly, you got the geopolitical situation where countries are attacking each other with cyber hackers. So that's, of course, training cyber attacks to become more sophisticated and better. And then the third one is, of course, the AI component into this, which is like a hockey stick. So you got better hackers, you got more attack vectors from countries attacking each other, and you got AI added to the mix.
Yeah, them utilizing AI tools to make it more expedient.
So everything in Web 2 is gonna get hacked at some point.
That's correct. And that's why I've been warning about that since 2020 or so, 2019 or 2020, that nothing's secure. And that's why we did the whole show a couple episodes ago, why everything needs to be encrypted. All data needs to be encrypted down to metadata. And this is happening, right? And there was articles already discussing that they're doing this for this reason alone. Nothing is safe anymore. And the AI bubble is another reason that multiple countries globally will go extinct, because they're invested hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars into an asset that they really don't need. They actually need to be investing hundreds of billions of dollars into Bitcoin and understanding why that's important, because most of these companies like Volkswagen, you don't need to be dropping hundreds of millions of dollars into AI. You just don't. You don't. You should figure out how to take wasted energy from all of your facilities and be mining some Bitcoin, because the Bitcoin's going to be worth a ton, and your AI investment is going to collapse in and on its face. And this is what I've been warning about, right? Like, you're going to invest in all these things that they think are valuable, and Bitcoin's going to tell you what's valuable, right? If it's doing well against Bitcoin, it's valuable. If it's not doing well against Bitcoin, it's not valuable. The only thing that's doing well against Bitcoin is gold, and gold is peaking. I called peak oil way back when it was like 120, and people were like, "Oh my gosh!" I was like, "This is peak oil. This is totally peak oil. What's oil done since then?" I called peak dollar, right? When dollar hit 126, I said, "This is the peak dollar." When it starts retracing back into the 90s, Bitcoin is going to be like, yeah. And that's the other. I haven't pulled up a DXY chart. We should just do that for fun.
And also,
let's see if it's climbed back up. That wouldn't surprise me either.
To tie into what you said about what George Barnett was talking about with the 1%ers and how the economy runs, right? I mean, that is literally what happened in Weimar Germany when you read The Death of Money, or When Money Dies, sorry. Because the government had to work with the big industrialists in order to keep as many Germans employed as they could, in order to stop riots and to make everybody happy. But that meant sort of that the industrials got very powerful and very influential in the German government. And you got like these big industrials like Stinnes, who got like extremely wealthy, rich. But at some point, the mark rose in value again, and then you had like mass layoffs, and people got very unhappy and upset. So it becomes a sort of impossible situation to maintain. Right, you cannot keep everybody employed. It means like the employment, that the things that you produce become less good.
Yeah, and again, everything ties back to 71. After we went a hard money standard, everything got cheap and more cheap and more cheap, and shrinkflation started to become hyper shrinkflation, like we started talking about in the last episode, where your items aren't like shrinking every 5 years, they're shrinking on a annual basis, right? Where my tube of toothpaste from 2024 was 5.5 ounces, now it's 4.5 ounces, and I wouldn't be surprised next year if it was like 4.28 ounces.
Yeah, and the ingredients get worse, right? The stuff that they use to make these things work.
And you can see that in the news right now. How many recalls are they doing, from listeria poisoning to lead contamination, which who's been warning about all this? From pink Himalayan sea salt, they're finding in cinnamon, they're finding it in all these protein powders. Because what's happened is, and we talked about this only 1 or 2 times, and this was only analysts to say this, I said, you better worry and be paying attention to all of this stuff after the pandemic, because rail lines, airplanes, amusement parks, these people had engineers that inspected these things on a daily basis for hundreds of thousands of dollars if it was an airline inspector, right? If you're even if you're an amusement park, like railroad amusement park roller coaster engineer, those guys get paid like $75K to $100K a year. Guess what? They were laid off for months and months, and in some instances years, right? And then everyone was like, all right, back to normal. Like, whoa. All of these things were offline for a long time. There's going to be problems and hiccups and all these issues, and that's what we've been seeing. And now we're starting to see that play out in these micro processes where it's food processing, right? And we have, I don't know how many listeria outbreaks we have in the food We have radioactive shrimp. Only person warning about that in 2018 after the Fukushima thing. I was like, I started to become a vegetarian. I think then I was like, yeah, maybe you all shouldn't be eating sushi or anything from the Pacific Ocean because of cadmium 137. And guess what they're contaminated with? Cadmium 137. Shocker. It's called science. I think as a planet and somebody is super uber spiritual at the same time have to realize that some of the smartest people were also very spiritual. Figure it out, y'all. Science and God are hello. Anywho, we're starting to see this in the micro processes now play out where these machines that were inspected in all these factories, they weren't inspected for years, right? So you're going to see what? That means more mice in those warehouses, more insects, more feces, more all this stuff. Yeah, another good reason to go vegan. I'm just saying. But you don't want to get poisoned by listeria. It's not good. So Google that stuff. There was protein powders, baby formulas. I don't know how many things they're finding with lead. And I've been saying for years, you don't need those stupid supplements. The supplement want me to say that crap, right? You can get them in these things called vegetables and fruits, right? Whoo, shocking. But yeah, Google this stuff because it's serious. It's a big story. The last couple of weeks, they found lead in like cinnamon, protein powders. I forgot, like I said, baby formula. Like there's like 10 or 20 things that they found. And this is 10 or 20 different items. This isn't all the brands that they found them in. This is 10 or 20 different items that they're finding lead, toxic levels of lead in these products. So just be aware that cheap money led to this, right?
Yeah.
And hard money fixes this.
Yeah. That's eventually what broke Weimar Germany, right? Because these industrials put their assets in similar things like Bitcoin, right? They didn't have Bitcoin back then, but they invested in hard assets or in foreign currencies that were not being manipulated, or in gold, right? And then eventually the Weimar mark broke down under its own madness. Yeah.
And I'm going to speculate again, but don't be surprised when a handful of these companies, they find out, oh, that protein powder was made in China. Shocker.
Yeah.
Real shocker.
And that's I guess why Boeings are falling out of the sky left and right.
Yeah, again, they started saying like, oh no, we can just leave parts out. It's like, what? No, bro.
We don't need wings.
No, you can't. Yeah, what do we need? What do we need fuel tanks for? What do we need doors for?
What do we need passengers for?
Yeah, again, don't be surprised when they start charging you for oxygen, right? Like, just saying. Oh, you want your mask to come down? Yeah, just slide your car.
Well, I guess that's why we need to eat the bugs, right? It's much cheaper.
Again, as a vegan, no thanks to bugs, okay? I get my protein from a whole million other things. I had fettuccine and meatballs last night with some bread and some vegan butter, and if I fed it to you, you'd be like, damn, this is good. I gave it to my dad a couple years ago for like I made him like a Christmas Eve or Christmas after, maybe it's like the day after Christmas, or it's his birthday, because his birthday is the 28th. I think it was like the 27th. I made him birthday dinner. It was like rigatoni with the Impossible meatballs. And I remember like, I think it was like, because I stayed with him for a couple of days. He texted me a couple of days. He's like, are you going to be mad I ate the rest of your rigatoni and meatballs? I was like, no, Dad, not at all. I'm glad you ate it and you liked it. But he loved it. So it's not like 10 years ago, I tell people, where it's like it was hard to like not eat animals and enjoy, have like a hearty meal that you used to like enjoy. But like the one thing after I've read the Bible like 6 or 7 times over the last year or so, what you realize is that Daniel was a vegan, right? So these types of plant-based diets have been around for thousands and thousands of years. People not recognizing that fact and thinking that a vegan diet's like this fad. It's like, nah, bro. Daniel did not eat meat. It was very clear in the Bible. He ate a pulse, and a pulse is like it's basically like a stew of like lentils, garbanzo beans, chickpeas, like a bean stew.
Yeah, no, I think
and
a lot of these mystics, they went on vegetarian diets in order to purify themselves, right? Before.
oh yeah, all the
rituals.
philosophers didn't eat meat. So yeah, so this is another reason I tell people, is like Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, they all didn't, I don't know if they were like 100% plant-based, but they didn't eat animals. All the saints didn't eat animals. I tell people, like almost every single saint that was canonized, not every single one, but it's like 85% of them didn't eat meat. And it's still a big deal in, the Catholic faith, the Orthodox faith, the Ethiopian Orthodox, Greek Orthodox, Russian Orthodox. In a lot of the very Orthodox faiths, they don't eat any animal products during Lent. Well, why are you doing that? It's because if you research the Nazarene text, the early followers of Jesus, it was taught that you don't eat this stuff. You don't need it. And fasting, I tell people, read the Sermon on the Mount, is very clear. It says when you pray, when you fast, when you give alms, not if, right? These aren't optional things. Jesus was very clear on this. And these are purifying things. And fasting, like 20 years ago was like, it was like literally not, and now it's talked about. You can see it online and in social media all the time, because it generates stem cells and does all these amazing things if you do it for extended periods of times, for like, especially past 48 hours. Again, the 72 plus hours, your stem cells start to like regenerate and do crazy stuff. Your mitochondria, all these like good things start to happen, because your body's like kind of shocked, and it's like, okay, let's heal. And somebody who has a bad autoimmune disease, I try and fast daily. Sorry to cut you off.
No problem. And it stops inflammation, but it also trains your discipline, right? Because disciplinary power is you can, it's like a muscle, right? You have to train it, and fasting is, of course, the ultimate discipline to train your discipline.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, the king did it for 40 days. I tell people, like, if you can get past 2 or 3 days, you're a champ. If you can get past a week or so, I've done it for maybe, I think, 6 or 7 days a few times. If you can get past a week or two, you're in a very small class of people that have fasted for a long time. And I think more than a month is miraculous.
And the ultimate discipliner is Bitcoin, of course. It disciplines all of us.
Yeah. And that's the same thing. It's a form of fasting when you hodl your understanding that you are holding on to, the most precious money ever created, right? Like I keep telling people, God did send us Bitcoin. Because of all of the money debasement. Money debasement is evil. It is. Well,
I think, if you are a god, or if you are like a higher being or a higher entity, the best way to transform humanity would be through transforming the incentive structure, which is money itself, right? So that's how I do it if I were an alien or a god, or something from outside.
But it literally can absorb all of the calamity that's about to happen, right? And again, there's a few other things that were survived. Like I said, property is not going to go to zero, but property values against Bitcoin are going to become more reasonably priced for a whole bunch of people. It's not good if you are one of these people has like hundreds of properties and rents all these Airbnbs because over the next 10 or 20 years, as property values go down, what goes down with that? Rents. So you can't bank on all of that rent you thought is going to go this way on the scale. And the S curve is, we're on a different S curve. And there's a lot of people that don't get that right now, right? We're on a totally different S curve against Bitcoin. The Cardones get this. The Trumps have figured that out. What's that?
The Larry Finks.
Oh, Larry Finks figured it out. Michael Saylor figured it out. The other day, the Elon tweet, right? Elon's figured it out. It's digital energy capitalized. And that's why it's going to go to $1 billion, because it's not just going to be oil and gas. It'll be oil and gas, solar, wind, hydro. All of these companies make trillions of dollars globally every year. Every energy sector from nuclear and down will figure out Bitcoin. And when that happens, do you think Bitcoin will be $1 million? No, it'll be somewhere between 100 million and $1 billion. These are just facts because it's going to suck up all of that capital. There you go. There's the tweet. You can issue fake fiat currency, but you cannot fake energy. This is why Bitcoin is based on energy. And again, this is, as the rest of the energy sectors of the world figure this out, Bitcoin's hash rate is going to go up by like 10x over the next 10 years. So where it is zettahash, it's going to be 10 zettahashes by like 2035. Like, that's crazy, but that is a lot of energy. And if it just does a 10x in power, that puts it at around 20 to $30 trillion. And if the money supply does increase, well, that 20 to 30 could be 300 trillion to a quadrillion dollars worth of capital. Because the thing that people don't understand is that when they lock that capital into Bitcoin, Bitcoin absorbs it's locked in, right?
It's like a sponge.
They're going to keep more money. We just saw that with accidental boo-boo from PYUSD, right? Oopsies. Accidentally printed 300 trillion. Yeah, you accidentally did it. Yeah, I'm sure. But they're going to inflate the money supply, and then you multiply that by how many stable coins, how many digital euros and digital yens and digital yuans and digital this fiat currency and that fiat currency. And then you have all of that energy and all of these new tokens fighting for, and that's how eventually you get
but it also shows that
$1 billion of Bitcoin. It's going to take, like I said,
and that's sort of the moment. That's the moment when one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin, right? I mean, that's when people realize that all those other tokens and all those other currencies don't really matter, and that it's kind of useless to count in them anyway. Because if one Bitcoin is $1 billion, $1 billion isn't worth a thing, right? It's just purchasing power. It's like it's signifying that those economies are imploding and becoming worthless in themselves. And I think what you said earlier, also with spirituality, right? The debasement of money is actually the road of least resistance, right? It's sort of gratifying your every wish and whim, and that's why we go down that road to disaster. Well, if you control yourself and discipline yourself through Bitcoin, then you actually increase value and you become a better person and you have a better planet. But it's like the straight and narrow, right? There's one road that leads to heaven, and there's infinite roads that lead to hell.
Yeah, 100%. Again, as soon as you become a Bitcoiner, you start to learn more about economics. I mean, I knew a lot about economics before, but then you start to learn more about like microeconomics more, like your personal finances, right? And you start to become more prudent and more frugal. You're like, I'm not going to waste this money on this because I can invest it, right? And then you start to learn, if you really start to learn about investing, it's not about trading. It's about building a position in this asset class or in this company. Like, you know, I've been talking about Canaan, I don't know for how long. I've been buying that stock, like DCAing it for like 4 years, right? I've been 100 shares here, 50 shares here, 20 shares here, right? I just keep doing that and doing that and doing that. And then what happens the other day? Well, a couple of months ago, they stopped doing their AI because they're like, wait a second, we're hemorrhaging money with this AI stuff. We're gonna get back to Bitcoin. And I was like, thank you, Lord, thank you so much. But what happened the next quarter? Their earnings per share for the first time exceeded their expectations in like almost 3 years. And now they're announcing another deal, right, where they're going to do methane flare. I think I might have that article pulled up. And the stock hit almost $2. And I told people, that's what I look for. I look for undervalued assets that I believe, that I've done my research, right, and they are going to produce. And Canaan is the new Bitcoin mining company in the world, and people are going to continue to mine, right? And my prediction paid off. And obviously, it's not my target dollars. My target is like 100, somewhere between $100 and $1,000 a share. I'm sure.
And that's just not financial advice.
Oh yeah, NFA. But always have a target, right? Whatever asset you're investing in, whatever stock investing in, you should have a target number. Like that's the first thing I teach. Don't be hodling it if you're on the downside of the mountain, right? Like it's unless they are producing something, right? Like Canaan makes physical products, they sell in the real world that make Bitcoin and earn Bitcoin, a big deal, versus MicroStrategy, which sells bonds to just buy more Bitcoin.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
and I know they're making in the background.
And another lesson from Weimar Germany is, even though gold went to the moon, it went like this. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for a while before it finally was like.
Yeah. So people go direct up and down. So even though it ended here, the road to get there was not like a straight line in Weimar.
Oh yeah, it's a long, and that's the other thing. The BlackRock wants to keep Bitcoin's price pretty nominal, so all of this money that the 1%ers can get in at a good dollar cost average, and he knows it's going to 1 million, so he wants all these 1%ers that get it to 10x their money, right? Like you wouldn't want to tell all these people to get in on this asset and then not do what it wants. Oh yeah, there you go. Holy moly.
So don't expect Bitcoin either to go like in a straight line, right? This is gold in Weimar.
Yeah. So that was gold being that volatile. Yeah, Bitcoin's still going to be crazy for years to come, right? Because people are going to always want to sell, right? And some whale comes along and dumps 10K of Bitcoin. The higher Bitcoin's price goes, the smaller that number of supply has to be for it to like hurt the market. Yeah, hi, buddy. Hi, I know. We're going to go to the park soon.
And sort of, sometimes the government, for example, in Weimar Germany, sometimes they strengthened the mark, right? So sometimes the mark actually got stronger, or even reached parity again for a little bit, and then tanked again. So there were sort of like these moments that if you were in the wrong assets at the wrong time, and of course everybody back then was a speculator, because if you were not a speculator in Weimar Germany, you were toast, right? you were absolutely toast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And again, the dollar is protected because they're gonna create all these new bonds through Bitcoin and Tether and all these new products that are coming up. And everyone else is going to have to play catch up, right? And the countries that figure out that they can just go find this dam, right? This dam or this wind farm or this solar farm that's in these months kicking out tons of energy, but nobody's using it.
Yeah, I know, that's the
And
thing that
again,
I don't understand from Europe, because there's one thing that Europe leads the world. I think it still leads the world when it comes to green energy infrastructure. The stuff that I invested in rolling out green energy investments and infrastructure. I think Europe is like number one in that regard. So just hook up some Bitcoin miners. My God, like
Yeah.
let's make it profitable.
Yeah, I know. Christine Lagarde, like she's like that. This is the one reason like a whole bunch of 1%ers in Europe are going to go broke because of Christine Lagarde statements. I mean,
Oh my God,
she keeps saying like dumb stuff, and people listen to her and take her serious. And unfortunately, they're way behind on the curveball on this one. And they're going to whiff and they're going to miss, right? They're trying to build a digital euro for years now. They don't want it to be too much like the digital yuan, but then all of a sudden they're like, yes, they do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Oh, they're even launching a euro stablecoin. So they're about to launch their own European stablecoin.
Oh yeah, but it's going to be just like the digital yuan, where right there's you shared it last week, and I talked about it too. There's 15 million people already been blacklisted roughly in China that can't use their WhatsApp anymore. As soon as your WhatsApp gets shut down, your life is over there, because that's like how people pay for everything, and that's Bitcoin fixes that, right? I also had that speech from, I think RFK pulled up talking about this is why CBDCs are dangerous, because it's another form of control. And I was like, this isn't red party or blue party stuff, right? This is America. We're trying to protect America from these evil, like be in every facet of our life. And that's just not like where it's at. What's going on? Why did my X account just disappear all of a sudden?
Shall I play this one in the meantime?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
They got deleted. In China, tens of thousands of young people are suddenly homeless, not because of money, but because the system erased them.
Imagine a society where everything you do, everything you say, and everything you buy is controlled and evaluated by the authorities. This is what the Chinese Communist Party calls social credit.
By using the mechanism of social credit, we'll be able to establish a blacklist of people and create a system of punishment that will be based on a scientific theory. These punishments will serve as a whip to more use our society.
The system decides who's trustworthy. But if you're blacklisted, it's game over. Your WeChat Pay stops working, you can't receive your salary, can't buy food, can't even book a train ticket. It's like being alive, but digitally. Many are now sleeping in the streets, cut off from everything. Jobs, housing, even communication. All because one app, one algorithm decided they don't belong.
It's not science fiction. In China, it's a reality. Then there's the public shaming. Photo galleries of blacklisted citizens. There's even an app that shows who around you is in debt.
They're not criminals. They didn't steal, cheat, or harm anyone. They just fell too low on a score and vanished from the digital world. Critics say it's a glimpse into the future, where technology doesn't just track your life, it controls it. So ask yourself, if your entire life depended on your digital reputation, how long before you get deleted?
That's a good question. Are you still there, Gerald? You just got deleted. I think you're stuck. If you can hear me, you can unstuck yourself or unstick yourself by logging out and logging back in, because you're frozen. But yeah, China is leading the way when it comes to CBDCs. And actually, Christine Lagarde mentions China as a guiding light when it comes to CBDCs and how well it's working over there and how inclusive it is and how great it is to bank the unbanked. I think it's actually unbanking the banked to be more accurate. But I think we just got Jerry back. Welcome back.
Are we still there? Sorry, my internet.
No problem. I just filled some dead air. But yeah, that's a good, powerful clip.
Yeah, of course. We're in another reason that. Oh yeah, again, they shut down your WhatsApp and you're pretty much homeless, and this is horrible. I think I can find the clip now because my internet's back online. Of course, I was like, "Where's my bookmarks again?" But my internet went away. Let's see. Do.
Let's see if I can find a quote of Christine Lagarde.
Where did it go? Oh, my internet's being slow now.
Okay, I
Apologize.
Look at this. I'll put this one up because it's.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's the European Central Bank. They're still in the test phase. But Christine Lagarde says it is piloted on a fairly large scale in China, where it is of use and of service to all citizens. So it is not something that is good for just the elite, or is good for the young, or is good for some versus others. If it is done well, and if it is implemented well, it will be of service to all citizens, according to Christine Lagarde. She's insane.
Again. She's a clown.
Yeah. But I think there's, we just talked about how Bitcoin.
I had to refresh.
So Bitcoin can restore moral values by actually disciplining yourself and teaching yourself, what is frugality and, standards and controlling yourself, disciplining yourself. But you can also use CBDCs to control other people and instill moral values by basically using the base money, which doesn't work, of course.
Is my tab showing?
Yeah, but I think you have a delay. But yeah, it's showing.
Oh, okay, because it's not showing on my screen. It's being weird.
Yeah, it is showing right now.
Okay. But yeah, that was from August of 2019. Let's see if I can get that.
I think your internet's breaking down.
Damn it. I just had it. Dude, can you the bookmark at a decent tab on the left shouldn't be hidden under more. Come on. So annoying. You don't do that on the mobile version. There's a reason.
Oh, there we go.
It would suck. I literally. Okay, yeah, it's right there. It is. Zach nabbit.
Ah, yeah.
Oh, of course. I slow. Damn it.
It's super slow.
Is what I turnkey totalitarianism. They are putting in place all of the technological mechanisms for control we've never seen before. It's been the ambition of
Again, internet.
It's a great clip.
I know. Everyone should go watch
Totalitarian state from the beginning of mankind to control every aspect of conduct, of thought, and to obliterate dissent. They're able to do it. They didn't have the technological capacity. Today, the mechanisms are being put in place that will make it so none of us can run and none of us can hide. Within 5 years, we're going to see 415,000 low orbit satellites. It says his 65,000 satellites alone will be able to look at every square inch of the planet 24 hours a day. Digital currency supply. Every right that you have is transformed into a privilege contingent upon your obedience to arbitrary government dictates. It will make you a slave. And what do we do about this? What do? We resist. I'm going to tell you 3 rules you all need to know and memorize. Number 1, every power that government takes from us, it will never relinquish voluntarily. Number 2, every power they take from us, they will ultimately abuse to the maximum extent possible. Number 3, nobody in history of the planet has ever complied their way out of totalitarian control. Every capitulation is a signal to impose new forms of torment or torture, compliance, or obedience. Every time you comply, you get weaker. Bullies cannot be appeased. It just encourages them to new forms of torture and torment. Every time you say yes, you're getting pushed back to a weaker position. That's why we need to resist today.
So, and a 4th thing, this is why we need Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
Like, he forgot to add that in there. He has a pretty good stack of Bitcoin himself. He's not a dummy. And this have some, because they're going to be doing these tricks and games in the next iterations, right? And this is why I warn against being careful about which networks you're using, right? Because as soon as one of those networks breaks, confidence is broken in that network and it will collapse just like the Weimar, right? So this is why proof of work is so vital. You attach this virtual cryptographic realm to the real world when you attach it to energy, right? This is why Bitcoin is far superior and Litecoin are far superior. This is not me being flout Litecoin. If you look up the top 3 profitable cryptocurrencies, it's Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Litecoin when it comes to mining. Everything else. So pay attention, right? These proof of networks, again, attach real world asset, which is energy, to the network. And then through that base cryptography, it is secured and will remain secure, way far more secure than your 4-digit PIN on your ATM card.
Yeah, and I think, you know, what he said is like, you know, these governments, these failing governments, because they're failing, right? They're basically bankrupt. You know, and the Weimar Germany was also bankrupt, and you saw Weimar Germany slide into totalitarianism, and like RFK is saying, like they missed the technology, right? They had quite a bit of technology, right? The Stasis were listening to everybody, But the Stasis are nothing compared to the NSA right now, right? They can't even stand in the shadow of the NSA. So if you hook up all these different kind of technologies that they have right now, what you're leading into is slavery, like, you know, pure and simple, like old school slavery, like not metaphorical, not figurative slavery, like literal slavery, but with super technology, if they can pull it off.
Yeah, techno slavery. And as we just saw, there's 15 million Chinese people who they've shut off their social credit score, they shut down their WhatsApp or whatever app they were using to pay, and they're, oh well, what? That's not how we do business. People, I'm sure, are ne'er-do-wells and aren't productive citizens as you want them to be. But in some cases, it's like what we're seeing in Europe, where they posted a tweet and now, oh, we're going to take everything away from you for that. It's like, no, that's, again, Europe, you're going a little cuckoo, Cocoa Puffs, you know, nuts on that front as well.
But that's sort of like the natural progress, right? If a state is failing, or if a government is failing, then it will only start to fail more and more, and then, you know, punish everybody but itself, and then, you know, it fails even more, and then it has to become even more draconian, and, you know, the blame, you know, it's like the blame game. You know, you blame everyone except yourself, and that makes the system implode.
That's, again,
that's why you need capital control.
We're going to see all these teeny little. Yeah. Well, again, this is why we're going to see all these little teeny countries, like we said, like Paraguay, El Salvador. I'm sure, you know, Costa Rica is definitely up there. Yep, they're going to be the B20 of the world. And the United States has got the biggest supply now, so we're going to be on that team as well, right? Because we have, what is it? We sucked up another 100-some thousand Bitcoin the other day. So the total U.S. supply, it was either 100 or 200,000, I think, from that huge scam that guy Empire. I've heard about that guy for years too, and they finally got that guy. But I think it was like 117,000 Bitcoin, if I'm not mistaken, 127,000, something like somewhere in there. But our wallet just went up 100,000 Bitcoin. That's good, right? Nobody's pointing this out. But the U.S. is now has wallets in the world for Bitcoin. Obviously, we're behind iBit, Michael Saylor, and Satoshi. I love how I saw a chart with Coinbase in there. Let me repeat, Coinbase doesn't own all of those Bitcoin, right? They custody like out of all of the ETFs, like 9 or 10 of the ETFs. So technically, they put those Bitcoin into cold storage for all the different ETFs that they, but Coinbase doesn't have that much liquid Bitcoin. Let's be very clear.
Yeah, I think we should
let's wrap it up. Yeah, good spot to take a break for this week's episode. Lots of bots and leverage. Obviously, there's a lot of you out there that learn valuable lessons. You're not market makers. Stay out of the way. Just stack your sats, stack your lits, stack whatever asset you believe in is going to be valuable in the future, and be ready, because the cryptoverse is being born right before our eyes, right? Everything in the universe, they want to tokenize in some way, shape, or form. Just make sure they're doing it on proof of work, right? Thanks to all of our sponsors, Shieldfolio, CoinAnk Expeditions, Deorganized Media, and all the family at Bitcoin Live, and my co-host Nick. Have a great afternoon and stay safe out there and stack sats. That's all I can say.
Take care.